A lot of the multi-location businesses I've seen, or people have tried them, they've got a great first location. In the second location, they try it, it closes. Maybe they try it again, it closes, because it's really hard to replicate the magic of that first location. And so not everyone's gonna franchise or open more locations, but what do you think it is about that ability to open more locations that anyone could apply to their business today?
It's still a process. It's a procedure. Franchise have a lot of different criteria to become somebody or the successful ones, right? You have to go to training. No matter who and how big you are, you need to go in there and you need to get in that kitchen and go to training, right? Some of them get down to the point where they even deliver you a whole store in a box with $128.28 in the register because you have to replicate it. Continuity is extremely important because I may love this brand, but it's different over here. Why? I'm disappointed, right? Or I go someplace first and it doesn't have all the benefits that the brand or the company has. You have to think about franchise a lot of times. Let's just talk about food. Somebody's taste profile, everybody has a different experience from that steak or that cheeseburger or whatever you have. They have a different taste, but they have a different experience. So they're already going to interpret something different.
Yeah.
Right? And if you don't have that continuity in it, well, that's when you fail. But not only that, where are you located? What is the demographic of the person you are, and why are they giving you that continuity? Because they only want 5 stores in that city or that state. Why? Because they also know that the radius of who's going to come to you is a certain demo, and they don't want to cannibalize the business. The wrong ones, who have many of them, usually it's gym kind of places. There was a big one. They were just giving it out to everybody. And all of a sudden you cannibalize the people that are investing in you. Continuity is everything, and process is everything within franchise, because you want to have the same experience by the same people at the same exact time, the same location, anywhere and everywhere.
In this video, we're going to talk about the importance of SOPs, or standard operating procedures, to your business as you scale. Now, if you've tried scaling your business, if you have multiple people doing something in your business, or if you've delegated tasks within your company and it just hasn't worked out, chances are it's your instructions to blame. SOPs, or standard operating procedures, are the sets of instructions, detailed step-by-step sequences to help other people in your business achieve the same output as you might achieve doing the same thing. You can't do every job that the business gets. You can't do every service that the business sells. You just can't. There's a limit on how many hours you personally can work, and a limit on how many hours your small team today might be able to work. What standard operating procedures do is almost let you clone yourself. They create the set of instructions that other people can take to perform a task in exactly the same way that you might. And as you get better at these, you're able to scale up your workforce and deliver a consistent result. Think about any fast food chain, or Starbucks, or Dunkin' Donuts, or any business that you've been to that's a franchise or a multi-location operation. When you have the same product in each location and it tastes exactly the same, that's because they have the same suppliers, the same raw materials, and most importantly, the same for creating that product or service. So for your business, as you're growing, that's what standard operating procedures allow you to do. It's a formalized set of instructions to get the same result every time. And if you don't have those, good luck scaling.
If I sell a pair of right, jeans to somebody for $50 and they sell it for $100, first of all, if I know that it is one type of market, well, I'm not going to give you all triple X's and somebody all 1X unless you request it, because you say, I have a bigger customer. But simultaneously, I'm not going to sell it to you at 50, you at 50, and you put it out for 75, and you put it out for 99. You have to be the same price. Why? Because, well, if this person starts putting out for 75, well, and I said that it should be at 99, but you want to move more, well, now you're corroding the overall brand at home, because somebody's going to say, especially today, right? All they got to do is this.
Yeah.
I saw this 75. Why would I pay 99 for it?
Yeah.
Right? And that continuity has a problem. That problem becomes, I don't like that brand, because they may reinterpret it as that brand tried to sell it at 99. What happens? You try to take advantage of them.
Yeah, you lose trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, so consistency and process also just improves trust with your customer, for sure.
It does.
For your customers, SOPs create reliability. It lets them start to trust you more because they know that the result that they're going to get when they shop with you once is the same result that they'll get when they shop with you again. That's how you build repeat customers. That's how you build loyalty. You want your customers to know that they can expect consistency from you and that they can rely on you. When you're producing a product, you want things to work like a well-oiled machine. You want it to be almost like an assembly line. If you had an assembly line to physically manufacture something. But that assembly line exists in every business, whether you're performing a service or a product. In my consulting business, for example, the assembly line looked the same, from getting a new inquiry from someone, to having that first phone call, from sending out a quote or a proposal, from processing the initial payment, for doing a kickoff meeting, for doing the research that followed, and all of the steps thereafter were a process that was repeatable for every single job. And that exists in your business too, everywhere across your business, for every product you sell, every service you offer, and every internal process that you need to do to make the business run. Creating an SOP is actually pretty easy. Like we talked about earlier, use the format that works best for you. It can be written, it can be video, or it can be a screen recording, which is capturing whatever you're doing inside your browser or on your computer while you work. The perfect standard operating procedure, in my mind, is a pretty easy formula. First, it starts with the process name. This may match the responsibility that we talked about in the people section. Really, it's just the what. What is this process or task? What is the thing that we're doing? Next, every process should have an owner. This is who is held accountable to make sure that the process is done correctly. This is the person that you go to for questions if you have questions about the process. After that, you should have the date that the process was last updated. All processes need to be up to date, and you don't want anyone doing it wrong. So capture that date in whatever system that you're using. Next, you want to talk about the frequency of a process. Is this something that should be done every day? Is it something that is done Fridays at 8 a.m.? Is it something that's done every time the phone rings? That frequency is part of training your people on when to do this process. You also want to record how long it takes to do this process. Is it a 5-minute process if done right? Is it a 2-week process? That's another element of context. You want to record any hardware or software or other tools and templates that you need to get this done. Do you need a document template for sending out a proposal? Do you need a website and login credentials to get into the company software? These tools are required to do the process. You want to show examples of this process done correctly. Is it a presentation that you're building? Attach a presentation that was done and successfully. Then you want to tell any kind of story or context about this process. Why does this matter in your business? Where does it go to after this person finishes it? Who else in the company relies on them? And then finally, you've got your steps. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this, and go through all of the sequence of doing this task in your business. The biggest pitfall that I see when people are trying to document processes is that they're doing it prematurely. If you've got a process in your business that isn't yet proven and consistent, writing it down could be a waste of time. So I always say, don't write the way until there's a right way. When there's a right way in your business, it means that there's a proven way to do something that gets your desired outcome. And when you're doing it over and over and over the same exact way, that's when you know you can write it down. That's when you should document. So that's the biggest pitfall, is documenting prematurely. How do you maintain a balance between having the recipe, the instructions, the standard operating procedure, and innovation? You know, in a business, you want to be trying new things, but you don't want to be disrupting the customer and eroding their trust. How do you balance that?
It goes back to processes and procedures, right? but it all depends on what stage of the business you're at. Now, how do you allocate, whether it's funds or resources, whatever the case is, and when do you quit, pull back, try again? That is, again, another process, because you can go down the route and down a rabbit hole. You know, Kodak was established in 1880. It's not that they didn't want to improve. They had a digital platform ever since, I think, 2000.
They were the first digital camera, right?
Exactly. So when, they didn't acquire the Facebooks of the Shutterflies or all the things coming out there, what it was is that they kept saying, this digital platform we have is better than everybody else, and we will not do any of that stuff. Right? So that moving forward, they in no time they step back and say, what are we doing wrong? Same with BlackBerry, right? The world was moving to finding apps and various other things, and BlackBerry just said, we're the most securest platform in the world, right? Now, BlackBerry did not move as fast as they should. And where are they? Netflix. It goes on and on. Again, what Netflix did to Blockbuster. There is about a time where you're moving forward, but you cannot predict the future necessarily, and you have to have a process that says, at what point do we reset? At what point do we close? At what point do we take this information and apply it different places and recalibrate?
Yeah. So every process has room for innovation, but you have to have a process for innovation. You have to have a process for R&D, for experimentation, so that how much will we invest in this? When will we roll this out to everyone? When will we shut it down if it doesn't work? So I love that even the experiments have a process.
That's right.
I think of processes kind of as like the low water mark in your business. You want things to be done at least this well, but you always want to leave room for innovation. So let's go back to the fast food kind of franchise example. They are great with processes and standard operating procedures, but you may have been to a fast food franchise that's selling something different on the menu. They're always experimenting, and that's okay in your business too. So the expectation is that we're delivering at least this result to the bulk of our customers, but the possibility is that we're innovating and we're testing new things that could then be rolled out across the business. The important thing up front is when someone is doing the work, they need to know if they have the flexibility to experiment or if you want them to do it a certain way. So create that expectation in your business and tell your people when it's okay to experiment. The effectiveness of SOPs really comes down to KPIs. I know I'm throwing a lot of acronyms at you, but standard operating procedures rely on key performance indicators. So a KPI in your business is some measurement of the outcome, some measurement of success. For instance, you might have an SOP about how to respond to customers, how to give them the answers they need in customer support, but then you have a KPI that's measuring whether you got the answer right. Did you accurately respond to customers? And you may have a QA team, a quality assurance team, that's measuring the effectiveness of your answers. What percentage of answers do you get correct? So SOPs should point to the KPIs the way that they'll be measured, because a good SOP talks about what success looks like. It shows what does this look like when it is done well, and oftentimes that's through KPIs. Standard operating procedures are actually pretty beautiful. If you think about it, you're standardizing the way you do things, you're operating more consistently, and you have a procedure or a step-by-step sequence for how you want something done. Implementing step-by-step SOPs in your business helps you scale. It helps you act consistently, and it helps you create trust and loyalty with your customers.